Hey, what's up, guys? Scott here, back with another video. Uh, so it's been a couple weeks now that I have time to process. I needed some time to process it. But a couple weeks ago, The Flash Season 9 concluded, which was the final season of The Flash, and by extension, the final season of Earth Prime, Arrowverse, at least for now. That franchise is done. The universe that started with Arrow, then had Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, Black Lightning, and Batwoman. That whole shared universe is done now, with the final season of The Flash. And the Flash series finale aired a couple weeks ago, and I needed some time to process it. And let me just say that going into the finale, I was really hyped. I thought the setup was really good. I thought the first two episodes of the final arc were really good setup. Then in the third episode is where it really started to falter. It was a 4-part arc. And then the first half was really good, and then the third and fourth part, they just dropped the ball so bad. So a key mistake they made was waiting to make Eddie Cobalt Blue not till the final episode. He should have become Cobalt Blue at the very end of the second episode or the beginning of the third episode, and then you could have had the 2-part epic final battle for the finale, right? 2 episodes for his origin, then 2 episodes for the final battle. That would have been so much better than what we got. What we got. He didn't become Cobalt Blue until the beginning of the final episode. So you really had very little time with him as Cobalt Blue. The final battle was rushed. It was hilariously poorly choreographed. I mean, you had all these returning villains, which should have been epic. And boy, did they just drop the ball. Ugh. And I was so heartbroken. I seriously was like flabbergasted, like, at how lackluster and bad this series finale really was. And, you could have had so many returning characters, like, not necessarily everybody, but a couple returning Justice League members, like Supergirl or White Canary or Superman. They could have just made this final arc so much more than what it was. But even if you hadn't had the Justice League involved, you could have still made the final battle with just Team Flash so much better. So anyway, there are just things they could have done to make that final Flash arc so much better. But anyway, that kind of leads me into my point. Is like the Arrowverse is finally done, and in a way, I'm so glad, because if this was going to be the quality we were going to get moving forward, it was time for it to end. Because for me, the Arrowverse as a whole really culminated / concluded with Crisis on Infinite Earths. That was their big end-game type moment. Now, the shows still went on after that, but that was when Arrow ended, and that was really when things started to wind down. It kept going after that, but anything after that was really, not near that level, right? So for me, the Arrowverse really culminated with Crisis on Infinite Earths. I consider that the true end game of that universe. But now that it's all officially done, I'm kind of glad, because it was time. It was on its last legs anyway. It was time for it to end, because like I said, if this is going to be the quality we were going to get moving forward, then it was time for it to go. Now, that being said, I'll always love the Arrowverse. They had some really great stuff in there, and I can always go back and rewatch the stuff that I love, right? Like all the great crossovers and great seasons or arcs. There's some really good stuff in there, and with the mediocre and just outright bad. But for the final arc of The Flash and the final arc of the whole Arrowverse, this last arc was just, it was bad. Anyway, but Arrowverse is done. I'm kind of glad. It was time for it to end. But now we're moving into another franchise that has a growing shared universe called Star Wars, of course, with the Mandoverse. So yesterday with a buddy, I binged and rewatched Mandalorian Season 3. And I gotta say, I liked it the first time. I liked it even better the second time. You can go from episode, like, Mandalorian Season 3 is definitely not perfect, but it didn't flow as well as seasons 1 and 2. But the good, in my opinion, the good in the season far outweighs the bad. It has some great action, good character development for Bo-Katan, who was kind of a secondary character in season 2. She's a main character in season 3, and she gets some really good development, some really awesome moments to shine in the action and stuff. And I like how they develop her character. And of course, I love Katie Sackhoff as an actress, right? I mean, she is just awesome. And then Mando himself, Din Djarin, I thought his character arc was pretty good. Now he kind of gets, honestly, and I'm not saying this is necessarily a bad thing. He kind of becomes the secondary character, or Bo-Katan becomes the focus. But I would say they kind of have equal screen time, equal important roles. I mean, it's their season. I don't think it's necessarily his or her season. It's their season together as Mandalorians. And the last 2 episodes of the season, which is the 2-part finale, basically, are the chef's kiss. Like, those 2 episodes make the season. The standout episodes for me were the last 2 episodes, and then the Mines of Mandalore, and then the Pirate. Those are the standout episodes, and the goods in those episodes far outweigh the bad of the season and make the season worth watching. Great action, great villains, good moments. Just overall, the season is really solid, in my opinion. I know a lot of people hated Mandalorian season 3. I thought it was still really solid. I would give the season at least a strong 7, if not an 8 out of 10. But definitely no more than an 8. Very solid. Not perfect, but very watchable. I enjoy it. As a Star Wars fan and a Mandoverse fan, I still enjoyed it very thoroughly. Now, up next this year, we got 2 more Mandoverse series coming. We got Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew. So Ahsoka is kind of going to be a reintroduction. Well, obviously, she was introduced in live action, played by Rosario Dawson, who is another amazing actress. She was introduced in The Mandalorian Season 2, and then cameoed also in Book of Boba Fett. She's getting her own show this summer in August. And this show is going to also continue her story, but also a continuation of kind of the Rebels crew from Star Wars Rebels. You're going to have, for sure, Sabine Wren and Harrison Doolin, Chopper, and Zeb, who cameoed in Mando Season 3, by the way. I'm sure he's going to be there, too. Because they wouldn't have him cameo if they didn't have something planned for him, right? So I'm sure he'll be in it, too. You're basically getting all these Rebels characters back together with Ahsoka to go find Ezra Bridger, who disappeared with Thrawn, all those years ago. Because Rebels ends like a few years before A New Hope, and this is 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So it's been like at least 10 to 12 years. Well, I'd say like 10 to 15 years since they vanished. So Thrawn and Ezra have been gone a long time, at least 10 years. This story is going to be a continuation. And now that the Empire is defeated, you have Imperial remnants, but they're going to be trying to find Ezra. And Thrawn is returning in this show, and we're going to have 2 dark side Force users in it, named Baylan Skull and Shin Hati, Master and Apprentice. Baylan's the Master, Shin is the Apprentice. They're going to be 2 of the main villains on the show. You've got Morgan Elsbeth returning, who is a devout follower of Thrawn. She was the villain that Ahsoka fought in Mandalorian Season 2. She's returning because we see her in the trailer. So this show is setting up a lot for the future of the Mandoverse. And then in Skeleton Crew, which is also a Mandoverse show, we're going to have a villain that was in Mandalorian Season 3. So you had Pirate King Gorian Shard, who is a kind of a secondary villain. He was the secondary villain in Mando Season 3. He died, as far as we know. His ship exploded, so we assume he died. But one of his henchmen, Vane, escaped the battle. He's going to be one of the main villains at least one of the main villains in Skeleton Crew, if not the main villain. So you have that connection, right? Very smart storytelling. So I guess this video is kind of a farewell to the Arrowverse and an intro and a hello to the Mandoverse. Because the Mandoverse is really just getting started, because we got 2 more shows coming out. We got future seasons planned. We're building toward a film. This is a shared universe within a universe that I'm very excited for, to see how all this is going to play out. You got, Luke's been in there. You got Ahsoka, Mando, and then Bo-Katan and the Mandalorians. How is this all going to come together with Thrawn? And this is actually a story I'm really excited to see what they're going to build toward. So, yes, I am on board for this franchise and story. So right now, just excited for Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew, and we'll see what happens from there. Anyway, guys, so farewell to the Arrowverse. It was a good run, but it was time to end. Hello to the Mandoverse, which is just now really getting started, with all this year. So, anyway, guys, super excited for the Mandoverse. Stay tuned for more content, and peace out.